Yes. Yeah.
Slides. Yay. Okay. So Drew asked me to talk about this, and I was trying to think what you guys would find interesting about it. So I thought possibly the most interesting is, given most of the audience's experience, you guys can sort of laugh at / have empathy with, like, beginner perspective on how I thought about the flights and what I found hard or not about it. So this is a flight I've been wanting to do for a while. Mias, you might remember when you asked me what I want to do in paragliding, I said this is the thing when I started out in November. Actually, I want to get to Komiki, but that's for later. So I've been wanting to do it for a while.
Well done, Malan. You're not wasting any time, eh?
So the way I thought about it is, like, sort of I thought about it as four things that seem tricky to me. So launching, which I'll get into now, like why that is tricky for beginner at that site, and then transition to Table Mountain, getting to Llandudno, and then from Llandudno to Hout Bay. This is sort of the four bits that I broke the challenge into, and I sort of practice bits of them at a time. So the launching, you guys might laugh at. For everyone who's got a sport license, this is sort of not applicable. But if you don't have a sport license, you can't launch from Signal Hill unless you can find Steph to sign you off. So the problem.
Cancel that.
Cancel that.
He's in Germany, I think, so it's safe comment. So the problem is when for this flight to work right, if you read the guides or whatever, everyone says you sort of need a northwest going on west, ideally, for that whole transition. And that's perfectly fine for launching from Signal Hill, but it's not ideal for launching from Lions. Like, not ideal at all. So this is sort of my little diagram of like what an ideal wind situation would look like for doing the whole route. And that's sort of what I think on Sunday, VJ, I pinged you. I was like, oh, Saturday or something. Like, hey, is it going to be okay on Tuesday? What do you think? And VJ, kind of weather god VJ, is like, yeah, it looks plausible. So that was great. The problem I found is when the wind is right, you look at the wind talk on top of lines and it says southwest, and you're thinking, yay, I can fly. But when you get to lower launch, you get a like very northerly component, and that I found insanely confusing. But in preparing for the thing, I spent a few Saturdays on the launch sites, lower and mostly upper, actually reading a book or whatever, and just getting a feel for the wind. And after a while, it took me an embarrassing long time to figure this out. What's cooking is that there seems to be a stagnation point that moves around a little bit depending on the wind coming from. So that's where the wind splits. So at that point, there's like the wind, at least the horizontal velocity is 0. And there's a high pressure cell as it's pressing against the mountain, then it splits. So you get to the low launch and it's completely crossed. And the upper launch is fine, except it's way too strong. Thanks, John, for telling me that definitely do not even try it. So you get this weird split in the directions, all funny. But if you know, like, at least it took me a while to realize, like, I know there's a stagnation point and I can figure out where it is. So if I'm happy to launch completely crossed, I'm not going to have a turbulence problem. And as soon as I get past the stagnation point, everything is okay. So in the end, what it meant is I had to decide, and I sort of realized this is going to be the case, so I was sort of ready for it, is just be happy to launch when it's completely 90 degrees on the launch site. Which makes you look like a complete idiot, because I was literally pulling up sideways and walking down sideways and then turning, but it does work, apparently. So launch sideways, and then you'll see I actually didn't even lose as much height as I thought I would. And then just cut, the stagnation point was sort of somewhere in the middle of this, and then I started getting lift on the edge. So the wind was actually straight on that ridge, sort of on the ridge. So for any actual pilot to know what they're doing, I hope that is roughly right. That's sort of how I figured or reasoned about it. And at least it seemed to work. So I hope that's correct. Mias, Barry, anyone? Is that? I hope that's.
Exact answer, yes, you're quite correct. So
100%.
perfect.
Okay, great.
7
Thanks.
minutes left. Malan, 7 minutes before load shedding.
Got you. Okay, cool. Then Table Mountain transition. I'd practiced this before, deliberately in bad conditions. So I sort of knew, even in not ideal conditions, if I get above Lion's Head, I'll get over. So that was actually super easy. Just got up and I was over like easily. So that was actually quite exciting. And part of what was exciting was in the glide to Llandudno. What scared me a bit is you get a relative a sort of wind gradient one, and often, like if you look at all the videos, the clouds look a bit scary, and clouds scare me quite a lot. Like I don't really know how they work yet, so I'm just trying to stay the fuck away from them. So by the way, the VJ showed me this. There's on XC Context, you can get cool maps to see where everyone got lift in an area. And I found that super useful to like plan out the route. So that's just the little pink things are just my arrows on it. But for any of the other beginners, like those is a super useful tip because you can kind of get a real idea of where people fly and where you generate lift. So that also sort of maps out the glide. And then this was the day when we were flying. So those clouds scare me quite a lot. So I realized I have to stay far away from them. So like what a principle I like a lot is Greg Hamilton's got this thing: risk the flight, don't risk your life. So like know which of the two you're doing. So kind of my view was stay low-ish and stay far from the mountain. This was the path I took. So I realized there's a reasonable chance I sink out, but it means I stay far from the wind gradient and the clouds. And I got lucky in that the lift was really good. So I didn't sink out. So I could stay, it's hard to see here, but I actually stayed very far from the mountain all the way through and relatively low. So about 400 meters under where the wind gradient should have been close to my trim speed. So that actually was super cool and like the most beautiful thing ever. And I guess what is also fun about it is I'd sort of thought about it enough or researched it enough that I actually spent time enjoying it and thinking it's amazing and not just trying to focus really hard. So that was really cool. And I got super lucky. Like I reached Llandudno peak, like Little Lion's Head, way above, and I like just gained more height there. So it was like a really easy day to do this. And then Hout Bay was also super easy, got height, and then just kind of moseyed along. This felt scary, but kind of the blog post helped a lot to go, hey, it's not scary, know where the wind goes, know where you're gonna get turbulence, or rather not get turbulence. And then just sort of landed at the beach, played around a little bit on the ridge just to feel what it's doing. But the plan was to just land at Hout Bay. So that was the thing. And if you guys want the references that helped me a lot, I put at the end of the slide, so I can share this. It's like Stefan's post on the thing, SAPA website. Greg Hamilton's got a pretty good analysis. And then there's some awesome videos, like VJ's got a really great Komiki Run video, amongst others. There's one of Barry and a crew flying it and everything. So that's it.
Oh man.
Malan, thanks so much, man.
So yeah, thanks very much to like everyone for helping. That was the bottom one. Just like general paragliding community is amazing and very helpful.
But if I can say something to you, I think it wasn't luck, and it wasn't. You actually calculated and you worked out where you should fly, how far away, how low you should fly. So congrats to yourself for ballsy doing the flight on your own, but also from your education that you've got from years, myself or whoever, and other pilots, but not gambling. I would say you made a very calculated, great flight.
Yeah.
That's well done to you.
Yeah, really.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. It's super fun, and I'm having so much fun learning paragliding.
So when are you back?
I'm uncertain at this point. I need to figure out the dune soaring thing here. It does look questionable.
Can you stop sharing now, Malan? Thanks.
Cool. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm really done.
Yes.
Cool.
All right, guys.